Welcome back to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and today we're going to talk about how to really maximize gains during this bull market. If you haven't noticed, we are in the middle of a bull market in the crypto space. Now, is this going to last for forever? No. But it is an amazing time to make fantastic gains. And some people are going to make 2x or 4x gains during this market, and some are going to make 10 or 20x, and some are going to make 50 or 100x or 200x gains. So why is it that some people vastly outperform others? Is it because that they're magic and they have a magic ball? No, it's the way that they analyze projects and that they analyze timing. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So join us and we'll be right back. Join me, Rainmakers. If you haven't already, take the time. I would really appreciate it if you like the video. And if you're looking for content about how to make better returns and how to think about things as an investor, I can't think of a better channel to follow than this. Now, I'm just an investor myself. I don't know about you, but I was born in a very modest family that had a lot of kids, and so we grew up rather poor. And I jokingly, but it's only partially a joke, that we were too poor for Kool-Aid as kids, because we had to, when we went to the store as kids, we couldn't get Kool-Aid. We could get the less expensive Flavor Aid, and we could get 2 packs a month because that's what we could afford. And so I came from humble beginnings, but what I like about opportunity, that is, if you learn to think about things the way the successful people do, that you can grow to whatever heights you want to accomplish. So it's amazing that, even many of my brothers and sisters have had phenomenal success too. And so to that I'm grateful, because even though we came from a poor family, I think my parents really kicked off a way of thinking that would help us be able to grow from there. And so this channel, part of the reason that I've been successful in crypto, and I've only been involved in this for 4 years, and at first I did make some of the mistakes that might be common in what you're seeing from other new people in this, but I've been an investor myself for 20 years ago, and I did go to undergrad business school many years ago, and I did get accepted to grad school, but like many, I came from a poor family, and I needed to put food on the table because I was married with 2 kids, and so I had to make real life decisions of going out and working and starting to pay off those student loans that helped me be able to even afford an education, because my parents didn't have the money to pay for it. Does that make sense? So I did go to business school, which was helpful, and I started understanding that there were people out there that were super rich that didn't necessarily come from rich families. And so I asked the question, how do you get to make above average wealth when you come from humble beginnings? Because that's what I want to do. And I learned a lot of it comes down to how they think about things. And that translated into helping me understand how to be a successful investor in stocks as well as within real estate, which I really love real estate. But what I love even more than real estate is cryptocurrency, for the short cycles that happen with it and the huge volatility. The huge volatility allows you to make massive gains as well as incur massive losses if you don't understand the cycles and the patterns that have followed. So I've been a crypto investor for 4 years, and I did buy my first bit of crypto in 2017, and I put some in and watched it go to unbelievable heights only to watch it then fall. And what I learned is that at the time I made decent gains, but there were some other people that made phenomenal gains the same time period that I did with the same amount invested. And so I spent the next number of years really digging into research. How do you pick the better winners? How do you learn, how do you know timing on when to buy these things? And I got pretty good at it, and like to say that my portfolio has performed way, 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 way better since learning these things. And I did start this channel not only to share this with you, but with a bigger vision, is that, sometimes there's information out there that I wouldn't call it private information, that there's projects out there, they can disclose this information, but maybe it's just not well known. And I had been reaching out to projects to get that information as an investor, but I wasn't hearing from them. They weren't getting back to me. And it was frustrating. So I did realize that they were coming on YouTube channels and they were talking, on speed dial with some of the people who had YouTube channels. So I realized, man, if I want to get that really good information to make better investment decisions, then I need to find a way to add value to people through a YouTube channel. And so my guess is that the way I think about investments has value. Not because I'm magic and not because I figured this out. All I did was listen to people more successful than me and copy the heck out of what they were doing. And all of a sudden, my investment decisions started going way better. And so that's what I have to offer to you, is just the way I process and think about things, some of the things I've learned in this space. And that if you help me by subscribing and liking my videos, that helps grow the channel so we can get more and more access to what's going on behind the scenes. Not the private information that can't be disclosed, but all this public information that they can disclose that people aren't aware of, that then when it hits general awareness, some major shifts or major runs happen. That way we're positioned well before the major run happens, because I found a lot of times in this space I didn't know that information. By the time I heard it, it had already gone up 50% or 100% or 300% or 10x. And so I was getting that information the same time everyone else was, but there were other people that were getting that information earlier. I don't know about you, but I want all that information earlier. Now, because many of you have already joined and subscribed in this 3.5 month long journey since starting the channel and adding content to it, it's put me in touch with some great teams out there. So I've gotten some really good information that wasn't private information that couldn't be disclosed. And many of you have been following this channel and done really well. I mean, we completely hit it out of the park on like Wanchain. Let me go over to Wanchain. And Wanchain, we were buying Wanchain when I started talking about it. It's one of the first ones I was talking about, down here at 30 cents. And it has done tremendously well. Now, I've been a holder in Wanchain a long time, and I know that they were a great project that was vastly undervalued, and it's still vastly undervalued, even at their current price of $1.69. Now, it did have some big news that they got the deal with the state electricity grid of China, the largest electricity provider in the world, to help. That company is going to run some of their stuff on Wanchain's system, and that's a really big deal, and I imagine many more big deals to follow, and they're still vastly undervalued. So the team had told me there was really big news coming, but because they'd signed a non-disclosure, they couldn't tell me what big news. But that was still helpful information. I shared that with all of you that watch my channel regularly, and we have all done really well on Wanchain, as well as a side development with Wanchain called the WanSwap. And WanSwap, if you watch some of my prior videos, will go into WanSwap more. And through WanSwap, we were getting the WASP token, and when I started covering them, the WASP token was 2 cents. And now I believe it's somewhere around 25 or 30 cents. So watch some of my videos if you want to learn more about that. So that's great to look in the past. And yeah, we have a phenomenal track record. We were buying SXP at 75 cents and selling it at 3.30. So that's great, and it multiplies. I mean, that's not tremendous in and of itself, 4x, but it was a 4x over a period of about a month. And then you roll those gains into other things that have good timing, and you do really well. So the big question is, what is out there right now that the timing looks really good? Isn't that what you really want to know? That's great, because I have some that the timing looks really good, and I'm going to share them with you. Let's go to the first one, and this is Elrond Gold. Now, if you joined my Telegram group, you probably have heard that Elrond Gold was going to pump, and because it had this breakout. So if you tuned in for the breakout, well, did I do a video on it? No, I didn't have time to do a video on it. So if you're in my Telegram group, and the description is below, I said this was breaking out. The other place I said it is at the end of one of my videos on another thing. And so if you stay to the end of my videos, at the end I sometimes drop little nuggets. And I said, check out Elrond. It is having a breakout from this. And so we were looking at it when it was breaking out above this, and it actually had a very beautiful breakout. And so we were picking this up. I was picking this up at about $1.46, $1.47. And you don't know with breakouts exactly how they'll play out. Sometimes they break out. Sometimes they retest and then break higher. Sometimes they break out and then they come back in and keep trading in this. But this is a pretty good indicator that it's going to possibly continue up. The other thing I like about it is look how long it's been trading sideways. Basically, it peaked on the 9th of February. So here we are now almost 2 months later. So it's been trading sideways for a while. And if you think about, I call this trading sideways, where you see this type of behavior, right? That's trading sideways. So it had a massive run here, came all the way up to here, then traded sideways for a while. And think of that like pulling a rubber band back. In a bull market, things don't just run straight up. They do 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And during that 1 step back, there's a period of time that it trades sideways, building up momentum, like pulling a rubber band back, and then you let go of that rubber band and it takes off again. So is it completely ready to take off and it's going to run and no stopping? We don't always know. But this is a good time to be buying it. However, I'm going to give you a caution. If you buy here thinking that absolutely it's going to take off and just go like this, and if it doesn't, if it comes back over here, that you are going to panic sell there, well, crypto, you have a lot to learn about it in general. In fact, we don't even know exactly how this goes. So here's how I play this out. I saw this, I was buying here. Do I know it's going to go like this? No. I suspect it is, but I don't know. If it comes down to here, like breaks back in and then bounces off that, what do? Do I sell? No, I buy more here. Then what happens if it goes down like this because the whole market has some bad news come out and it comes down here? Well, I buy more, unless it's like news like the Elrond Gold's team's headquarters had a meteor hit it and 90% of the team is dead. Well, then I'm selling, even if it's down here. But short of that, as long as there's no fundamental reason that's saying like if 15 of the team just got arrested or something, like, yeah, I'm going to be selling too, and I'm not going to be holding. But when the fundamentals stay the same, even if some people, maybe somebody bought, a lot of what could cause that is somebody was totally picking up tokens way down here. They're just getting scared, and at this point they just dump, and it brings the price down, and maybe there's multiple people. Dumps. I'm looking for good pickups when that happens, because during the middle of a bull market on a project like Elrond with solid fundamentals, in my opinion, what it usually does is that. Does that make sense? And so when people panic sell when it starts to head down like this, they're selling right into the hands of people like me, who I'm patient. I wasn't always so patient when I was new at crypto. It seemed like everyone was making massive gains but me. But I didn't know how to analyze breakouts. I didn't know about trading sideways for a while. I didn't know about 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or sometimes 4 steps forward, 1 or 2 steps back. I didn't know that so frequently happens. And so I was chasing returns. And you know what? I made some pretty good gains in 2017. But already, since crypto winter, I mean, honestly, things have gone tremendously for me just following these principles. And that's what I want to share with you. Does that make sense? So let's look at another one that's not quite ready for the full breakout yet, but this is one to keep an eye on. This is Cosmos. I'm a big fan of what Cosmos has done. All right, so sometimes the lower trend lines are a little bit harder to map out. This is pretty simple, but it's trading in this pattern. And so we are in a bull market, so things do react differently in bull markets than bear markets. But overall, we're trading in this pattern. And at some point, it might do this for a while, and then it might come up, break back, and retest. So what I like about Cosmos is they have a fundamental value offering to the market. There's a lot of projects that make sense for them to build on the Cosmos SDK. And without going into what that all means, essentially it just makes sense for them to use Cosmos for building their token on and what they're trying to do. And so it's a solid project that should be around at least for the foreseeable future, and that there are a lot of projects building on top of them. And so I like their fundamentals. And so then I'm looking at just when is this going to break out. And if you notice, there's some similarities between the projects I'm going to share with you today, and I'll wrap that up later on what that is. So that's Cosmos again. This is Cardano, and obviously I've been looking at this one. I don't want to actually remove all my drawings because I want to keep some of them here. But I was explaining what could happen with Cardano, and Cardano is one of my favorites. Cardano has been amazing, and I remember all the FUD that was happening on a year and a half ago, and they'd called it Cardano, and it's never going to come out. And I was like, hey, strong fundamental project, please keep FUDding it so I can buy it cheaper, please, because I love this project. And it has done phenomenal. I mean, I was buying it, so I didn't buy it in the 2017 bull run. I didn't even know what it was. And I was pretty new, and it's hard when you're new. Everything is overwhelming because there's so many projects to keep track of and stuff. And so I didn't even really understand what Cardano was. I had my friend Angel, who many of you have met when you stay tuned for technical analysis. That's Angel. And Angel said, hey, you should look at ADA. The chart looks good. I didn't know what ADA was, and I didn't know how to read charts or anything. And so I looked at it, and it was like 27 cents, and it went to like $1.40, and I was like, But it hit $1.40 and retraced. And when it retraced all the way to 12 cents in the bear market, that's when I started buying it. And then it went cheaper, and you know what I did? I didn't sell the stuff I'd bought. I bought more, and then it went even cheaper, and then I bought more, and then it went even cheaper, and I bought some more. And it bottomed out at 1.7 cents. And now it's trading at not 100 times that, but getting close to 100 times that. A couple times it's hit pretty close to 100 times 1.7 cents. So that was a great time to be buying because it had solid fundamentals, and sometimes you don't know where the bottom is. And some people completely stay away from buying at the bottom like that, and they wait for breakouts. I do sometimes, but when it's on a project that I really like the fundamentals, I'm not scared to buy when things are falling. In fact, let's look at what Cardano may do. So it's trading in this kind of pattern, and it's pretty well respecting this pattern. And so at some point it could keep doing this. It could do this. That would be heaven sent because I would buy even more Cardano. And when it's doing this, the reason I put these lines in are these are lines of resistance that it might slow it down and possibly even bounce off of, or could bounce off here. Does that make sense? So we don't know exactly how this would break out, or we could see it do something like this and then break out. Now, it hasn't been trading sideways all that long. So 27th of February, here's the 27th of March, and so we're in the beginning of April, so it might need to build up some more steam. But overall, I want to cover another large cap here that's been trading sideways since the 20th of February. And so 1.5 months essentially, and it's showing a sign of a breakout. Now, you probably heard of it, but you haven't heard of it a lot lately, and that's DOT. Now, when I say a lot lately, of course you hear about it because people talk about DOT. It's one of the major projects out there, but you haven't had 50 YouTube channels covering it every day. And the reason they haven't is because it's been trading sideways. And what's funny is this is when all the coverage happens on channels on a project, is right at the end when it's already had most of its gains. And so here's what a lot of people do. They buy in this zone. Then they're like, everything else seems to be going up around it, and they sell in this zone. And they sell it right into the hands of people like me that I'm just patient. When I miss something, and sometimes I miss things, I don't chase these breakouts. I don't buy here unless I have really strong indications that it's going to go to here. I just wait, and I wait for, patiently, a good pickup. So while DOT's been trading in this range, I have been picking it up, and I picked up some here, and I picked up some here, and I didn't know it was going to go this cheap, or I would have waited and picked up more there. But I'm glad it did, but I missed this. I'm just not always at a computer either. So I bought some more here, and guess what? I just bought more earlier today right here. Let's zoom in and see exactly what's happening there. Well, it seems to be breaking above this and then coming back and retesting this. Now, it's not going to show up on the daily yet, and so we don't know. It might come back in and trade inside of this, and if it does, it will lead to some more breakouts. But I was totally happy with this price, even though it's not as good as, man, should we be so lucky and it hits this lower trend line again, or should we be so lucky and it hits down this? Now, every time I bought this, I've only put a small percent of my portfolio in this. I diversify across a lot of different things, and it helps me continue to be patient. Though overall, I'm a patient person. We all are just human beings, and it's a lot easier to be patient when your portfolio is diversified across lots of things, because then at any given time, some of your portfolio is running pretty hard. And so it helps you not chase large green candles like chasing this. So what's funny about this is here, when things are breaking out, this isn't when it's usually getting a lot of coverage by people who have YouTube channels. Think of some YouTube channels as just news channels, and they're covering the news. Well, Polkadot isn't in the news because it hasn't hit 5x gains. Once it hits 5x gains, then all of a sudden, some YouTube channels, which really just cover news, are going to be talking about it. Now, is that a good entry point? Heaven forbid, no. But that's when a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's done 5x. I better get some and jump in. And hey, I mean, yeah, I hope I'm sharing with you why not to do that. Now, don't misunderstand me. None of this is financial advice, and I'm no financial investor or financial advisor. I'm just an investor myself. And I'm just sharing with you the principles that have helped me have above average returns. And some of my stuff has 100x, some of it is 200x, some of it has only 5x. But when you average it all together, my portfolio's done pretty well. And it's not because I'm magic, it's just because I learned to analyze these things and think about them and to be patient. And that combination can help anyone be successful. So I do hope you take the time to subscribe to my channel. Also join the Telegram group, because some of these calls I just don't have time to make a video on. And when breakouts happen, sometimes they're pretty fast, and so sometimes we'll have time to mention something in the Telegram channel. I'm not going to tell you to buy it. I'm never going to tell you to buy or sell something. I'm just going to say you might evaluate whether it then makes a good buy for you, because these things I'm seeing, or you may consider selling because of these things, and look at it and see if that fits your strategy, because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a crypto investor with a YouTube channel. I don't know everything. In fact, I'm not even always right. I'm often right, but there's a big difference between often and always. Do want to thank you for joining us here. Now, I do have a nice little video written by Manuela in Argentina that I've got at the end. So if you haven't heard it, it's for all you rainmakers out there. So how are you a rainmaker? Well, if you subscribe to the channel and you like my videos, you're one of us. You're a rainmaker too. Thanks so much.
Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, rainmakers, let's make this happen.